Welcome to Revelation TV Studios. We are live. We didn't intend to go live, but we're going to do that. And it reminds me really of when I first went live 8 years ago on Revelation TV's first broadcast, and my heart is pounding. But nevertheless, it's a very special day for me, and I'd like to warmly welcome our special guest, Richard Dawkins. Richard, thank you so much for coming to the studios.
Well, thank you very much. And can I just begin by offering my condolences for your very sad tragedy that's hit you this week.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. I did intend to do a lot of preparation and even endeavour to read your books, but the problem that we had was the family tragedy. You know, one of our family members was killed by a motor accident, and he died instantly, and it's just been very hard for the family to handle. But I really do appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much, Richard. And I am going to struggle as best as I can to interview and talk with Richard. And I know that our viewers, like myself, who now have not perhaps read some of the books or any of Richard's books, he's a well-known author and is one of the world's leading atheists, really. And Richard, you know, give us some of your background, because I would be thrilled, and I know some of our viewers will. Some of them will be upset, but that's never stopped me in the past. And I would really like you to share with us your background so that people would understand where you've arrived at today in being an atheist.
Well, I presume you mean my background with respect to religion, not
No, just some of your personal background, you know, educated, where and brought up, and perhaps you'll tell it about your parents.
I was born in colonial Africa, came to England when I was 8, went to boarding school, went to Oxford, read zoology, a couple of years in California, back to Oxford as a lecturer, and started writing books. My first book was The Selfish Gene, which was published in 1976, and I've been writing books sort of ever since.
Were your parents at all, or any of your immediate family, believers in God, or all atheists?
I don't think my parents have ever been serious believers in God, except that one is as a child, of course. Most people are as a child, as St. Paul said. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, etc. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And I think, well, my father died a couple of months ago. He certainly wasn't religious. My mother certainly isn't religious. So, no, I didn't come from a religious background, but my schools were religious. I mean, my schools were Church of England, and so I had the usual dose of Sunday chapel, daily chapel, actually, daily prayers.
So was there a defining moment where you made a decision that you didn't believe in God? Or?
Yes, I suppose I switched from Christian theism to some sort of deism round about the age of 14 or 15, and then switched to atheism round about the age of 15, 16.
And was there a particular point that, or something that you read, or an experience you had that sort of said, yeah, this is it, God doesn't exist?
Oh, well, by far the most important, I suppose, was understanding evolution. I think the evangelical Christians have really sort of got it right in a way in seeing evolution as the enemy, whereas the more, what should we say, sophisticated theologians who are quite happy to live with evolution, I think they're deluded. And I think the evangelicals have got it right in that there really is a deep incompatibility between evolution and Christianity, and I think I realized that at the age of about 16.
Right. Well, first of all, I appreciate you even saying what you said, but I think this is one of the things I'd like to get out of this interview, that, you know, even though we have differences, I do believe that we can discuss these, and I certainly would like to invite you, it's like, not the interview's over now, but I'd like to invite you in the future, if you would so consider, to talk to some of our, I would say, more intellectual minds than myself, who would be able to debate the subject and do it in a gentlemanly way, because some of the interviews I've seen conducted, particularly one of recent times I saw on YouTube, which I thought you were treated abominably.
Oh, really? I wonder what that one was. I don't remember it.
Was it one of the interviewers in the States where he's like a news presenter, maybe Fox?
Oh, yes. Well, I've done a few of those, yes.
Yeah.
Bill O'Reilly, maybe.
I think that was,
yes,
could be.
yeah.
I think, anyway, it's not the way that I want to conduct our interviews, and indeed any of the debates that may follow with some of the more wiser people that I would like to introduce you to. And I do see you as an English gentleman and not one to be berated, and perhaps people will be angry at me saying that. But I do value your thoughts, and maybe we can arrive at somewhere in the distant future, or not too distant future, at some sort of agreement, even if it's to disagree, but we've talked the way through these, because it is important fundamentally to a Christian. If evolution is, to me, if it is a fact, then we are deluded, and we're without hope, as the Bible says.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So you're saying that you do, as it were, put your money on evolution being wrong?
I do personally,
yes.
But there are others in the Christian faith who see evolution as a part of what God's purposes and plans were.
But I've now got you placed then. So all I've got to do is convince you of the truth of evolution. That
yes, I
should be
suppose
easy.
that.
Yes.
And I suppose my job is to prove that there is a God. And maybe without doing it in the usual way, that I would share a couple of experiences with you, and then you could tell me, and especially as I haven't read the book,
Right.
God Delusion,
Yes.
then I'm not biased, although I understand that where you're coming from the title. I would nevertheless, value your opinion, so put me right so that I can change horses if I have to.
Well, let's get on with it then, shall we?
Good. Well, one of the things that I do see, and this was a fundamental question at the beginning of my sort of putting the word out to viewers and friends that I'm going to be doing this interview with you today, is that there are 6 billion people on the earth today, and I would say at least 1/3, if not more, have an innate belief in a supernatural being. Let's call him God. If we've evolved, why have we evolved with such concept to want to worship?
Yes, I think that's not really very difficult. I mean, I think it's very easy to see. You could answer that question psychologically and point out that it can be very comforting to people to believe in some sort of supernatural father who looks after you, takes care of you, maybe raises you from the dead. So it's very easy to see that if people believe what they want to believe, then they're likely to believe in some sort of God. So that would be the psychological answer. I could also give you an evolutionary answer and say why it might be that natural selection of our past ancestors had shaped our brains, or shaped the genes that shaped our brains, to make us believe in, not God necessarily, but to have a sort of psychological predisposition that leads you to believe in God. I'm thinking of things like a tendency to be obedient to authority. I could easily make a Darwinian case for why one should be